Alright, let's look at an example of solving an oblique triangle. An oblique triangle is a triangle without a 90-degree angle in it. With that said, we've got two laws that we'll be looking at in solving oblique triangles. Right now we're focused on the law of sines. And the law of sines states the sides are proportional to the sines of the opposite angles. And you can see a proof for that in my notes. What I want to look at, though, is this triangle here, EFG. So we're using standard lettering. Capital letters denote the angles, small letters denote the sides. Now let's notice what they've given us in this triangle. We've got a side given and two angles. So half the information, right? There's 6 parts we got to find, right? 3 sides and 3 angles. So let's go ahead and look at triangle EFG. We'll go ahead and get a picture here. Let's draw it in here. Let's get a drawing of this triangle. So we can draw a quick sketch of what triangle EFG would look like. So let's just draw an oblique. Alright, and angle E, we'll let this angle here be E. Alright, we can let this angle here be F, and we let that one be G. Doesn't matter, whatever you want to label it. But angle E right here is a 43-degree angle, and angle G is a 57-degree angle. Alright, now side E, which is side opposite angle E, is 4.56 units in length. So what are we missing? So let's go ahead and look at a different color here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and look at what angle F we need to find. Yeah, we need to find where's side F and side G to solve it. So those are the 3 parts that are missing. Now with that said, what type of triangle is this? So we have an angle and a side opposite given. So we call a angle side triangle. Well, an angle side triangle, we can use the law of sines to solve for the unknowns. Law of sines states, remember, sides are proportional to the sines of the opposite angles. For example, E over sine of angle E would equal F over the sine of angle F equal G over the sine of angle G. So we'll use that law to help us in finding these unknowns. Now the first thing we'll do, right, we need, of course, angle F, right? We're going to then need to find sides F and side G. Well, before we begin, let's go ahead and find the third angle. So we've got 2 to 3 angles given. Now we know in a triangle, any triangle, all 3 angles add up to 180 degrees. So angle F will be 180 degrees minus the sum of the other 2. So we have 43 plus 57 degrees. So let's go ahead and simplify together. So what's 43 plus 57 degrees, right? What do we get when we add those together? We get what? 100 degrees. So 180 minus 100 is 80. So our third angle, right, is going to have to be 80 degrees, right? So we add those up. So we get that. So we got 1/3 of our solution. So there's angle F, right? Angle F is 80 degrees, just using a little geometry. Now here's where our trig comes in. So we need to find the 2 sides. So let's go ahead and find, for example, side F. So if we want to find side F, let's use our law. So law of sines says what? F over the sine of angle F. Well, angle F we just found to be 80 degrees equals what? Ratio of any other side and angle opposite. So with that said, what were we given to work with? We were given what? Side E and angle E. Let's use that ratio. So E, which is 4.56 units in length, over the sine of angle E, which was given to be 43 degrees. So using that ratio. Can't use G over sine of angle G, right? We don't know side G. It'd be too many unknowns. So we've set up what? A proportion to go solve. So let's go ahead and solve that proportion. And to solve this equation, right, this proportion, let's go ahead and clear out the fraction. So I'll go ahead and multiply by the sine of 80 degrees and cancel those out. So F is equal to what? 4.56 times the sine of 80 degrees over the sine of 43 degrees. All right. So now we'll go put that in our calculator. All right. So we got 4.56 times the sine of 80 divided by the sine of 43. All right. So let's go pull up a calculator. You can get your TI out if you want. Pull up a TI calculator version of that together. So let's find side F. So let's type that in together. So what is 4.56 times the sine of 80? Now make sure your mode is in degrees. Right? And hit your mode key. Make sure it's in degrees, not radians. As we do that, we type that in. We get 4.56 times sine of 80. We get a value of 4.4907. So 4.4907. So as we look at that, we got to divide that by what? The sine of 43. So sine of 43 degrees. And what do we get? 6.584. And there it is. So remember, F was equal to 4.56 times the sine of 80 divided by the sine of 43 degrees, which is 6.58 if we round it. So 6.58 units. So let's go ahead and put that in here. So it's approximately 6.58. So we found side F. So we've got, again, another, right, unknown. So F, right, this side here, around the nearest hundred, we'll stick to 2 decimal places. This is what it gave us for side E. So our last unknown is side G. Well, let's do the same thing. Let's use our law. So to find G, right, we know that G over the sine of angle G, which is given to be 57 degrees, equal, now I'm going to use the same ratio, right, F over the sine of angle F, right, or G over sine of angle G, or E over sine of angle E. Well, we're going to use E again. So we use the same ratio we did in the last example and find the side F. So 4.56 divided by the sine of 43. Now I could have used, right, F and angle F, as I just found side F. But again, maybe I made a mistake. So I don't want to compound my errors. So I'm going to stick with the given information. No, that's correct. So let's go ahead and solve that. So we're solving for G. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear out that fraction. We'll go ahead and multiply both sides by sine of 57 degrees. As we do that, what do we get? G equal to, what, 4.56 times the sine of 57 degrees divided by the sine of 43 degrees. And what does that equal? So again, we'll be ready to go to our calculator, right? And we'll type that in, see what we get to the nearest hundredth. So let's put that in our TI. So as we type that in, right, we got 4.56, right, times the sine of 57 degrees, right, divided by, what, the sine of 43 degrees. Right, so there it is typed in on a calculator, and we're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. So 5.61. So 5.61, rounded 2 decimal places. There's side G. So again, we found what? All 3 sides. Right, we can go back to our triangle we've drawn here at the beginning. We can label that in here, which is side G, which we just found to be 5.61 units in length. So we got all 6 parts. We just solved an oblique triangle using the law of sides.